Because of the World Series broadcast that follows, Checkerboard Jamboree, sponsored by the makers of Purina Chow, will be canceled in certain areas today. Queen for a Day, jointly sponsored by the makers of Alka-Seltzer and One-A-Day Vitamins, the makers of Robin Hood Flour, and the makers of Philip Morris cigarettes, will be delayed until immediately after the game. We take you now to Braves Field in Boston.
Look sharp, feel sharp, be sharp. Use Gillette Blue Blades with the sharpest edges ever honed. Gillette's Cavalcade of Sports is on the air. From Braves Field in Boston, Massachusetts, Gillette presents the World Series for the 10th consecutive year. Good afternoon, baseball fans everywhere. This is Mel Allen with Jim Britt greeting you for the Gillette Safety Razor Company as the Cleveland Indians and Boston Braves get set for the opening game of the 1948 Championship Classic. Fans, for the tops in sports, tune in Gillette's Cavalcade of Sports the year round. Every Friday night, Gillette broadcasts the major boxing bout of the week for the Fistic Fancy Coast to Coast. Also, as they occur, Gillette airs leading events of turf, diamond, and gridiron. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's been said many times in jest that the country could or should be given back to the Indians. Well, today that quip has taken on an aura of reality. For America truly has been taken by the Redskins, the Cleveland Indians, and the Boston Braves. Many times have these warriors been to the well through the years, but it's been quite a long time between thirst-quenching pennant drafts. It was 1914 when the Boston Braves last headed the National League contingent. The dramatic surge from last place in midsummer to the top at curtain falling time, and then a spectacular sweep of a star-studded Philadelphia Athletics team in the World Series. That's a story that has been repeated time after time after time, one of the greatest in baseball history. The Warriors from the Lake Erie Reservation, the Cleveland Indians, had gone hunting but wanting for an American League flag since 1920, when they knocked over the Brooklyn Dodgers in the Fall Classic. That was the series, you remember, in which Wamby made that unassisted triple play. And so it's been 34 and 28 years, respectively, for these two clubs since they were last represented in this greatest of sports spectacles, the World Series. And today our wigwam is pitched on the bank of the Charles River in what has often been referred to as quaint or staid old Boston. But you can take it from us, friends, that baseball fans in these parts are just as rabid and sportsmanlike as any you'll find anywhere at any time. I know you're interested in the weather. Perhaps many of you from coast to coast might have received reports from the many members of the various press associations and newspapers who are here in attendance that there was prediction of rain. There was. Everyone expected that the rain would be coming down today and that there would be a postponement of the opening game of the World Series. But somehow or other, the weatherman has cooperated to a great extent, at least thus far. Since early this morning, the sun was shining. However, at the moment, the sun is not shining, but there are patches of blue around and about. There's a bit of a breeze blowing. It's somewhat cool, but not too cold. It's not quite cool enough for football weather, almost. And the ball players will be comfortable. The wind is blowing in from right field toward home plate at the present time, so that left-handed pull hitters will not be aided exactly by the wind. And we're going to give you the distances from home plate down the foul lines in a moment as we go about the ballpark and describe that for you. But let us say, as we return to the weather, that it looks as if we'll be able to get in 9 innings without any trouble. There are a few clouds beginning to move into the blue, but it appears that we'll be able to play baseball all the way. As we look around Braves Field, we look off to the left, and when we look to the left from our broadcasting booth, that's down the left field line, out over the left field fence, over the New York Central Railroad tracks, and we see Fair Harvard, the campus of Harvard University in the distance. And as we move around, looking out across the center field fence where the Charles River floats by, we see Cambridge and Somerville, and off back of right field, we see the skyline of downtown Boston. Getting back to Braves Field, the fans are being entertained at the moment by some antics on the playing field itself, as the Cleveland Indians at the moment are taking infield practice. And warming up are the starting pitchers for today, Johnny Sain of the Boston Braves, sensational right-hander, and for the Cleveland Indians, realizing a dream of a lifetime, one of the greatest names in the history of baseball, Bobby Feller. Just a moment ago, we saw something that sent our mind spinning back through the years. Tris Speaker was talking to Lou Boudreau. Lou Boudreau, the wonderful, peppery, smart, great manager of the Cleveland Indians, was talking with Tris Speaker, who managed the Cleveland Ball Club in 1920 when Cleveland last won its pennant. We couldn't tell exactly what they were talking about, but you can imagine just about as well as we can. Tris was probably saying to Lou, just do the same thing, Lou, that you've been doing all year, and you'll bring a World Series to Cleveland, a World Series championship, just as I had the good fortune to do back in 1920. On the other side, there's Billy Southworth, a veteran of many World Series campaigns. I remember broadcasting one World Series when Billy Southworth entered as the underdog, just as he has entered the underdog in this series, Cleveland the favorite, against the New York Yankees. It was in 1942. But with Johnny Beasley pitching sensational ball and the masterminding of another outstanding manager and a great handler of men and the keen strategist, Billy Southworth, the St. Louis Cardinals that year beat the Yankees in the World Series for an upset triumph. You never know what's going to happen in 7 games, so why try to predict? All we can tell you is that around the hotels, wherever baseball men gather, there are those who predict anywhere from 4 to 7 games, and that just about covers it all. Pitching is the big thing in any short series. Billy Southworth has Warren Spahn to back up Johnny Sane. Lou Boudreau perhaps has a little more depth to back up Bob Feller. He has Gene Bearden and Bob Lemon. But you never know who might come out of the ranks to star in a short series. Somebody that you never expected, or at least didn't anticipate to star. But on the other hand, these managers might have been grooming him over the past few weeks, and they are tight-lipped about it. So we'll just sit tight and watch what happens as the World Series unfolds between the Boston Braves and the Cleveland Indians. There's another striking parallel here. Jeff Heath, who gained stardom in the major leagues with the Cleveland Indians, had the misfortune to break an ankle in the leg in Brooklyn just a few days before the 1948 season ended. Jeff Heath, now with the Boston Braves, who was looking forward to playing in his first World Series, and particularly against his old teammates. Dame Fortune did not see fit to smile on Jeff. However, he had a big smile himself when Cleveland beat the Boston Red Sox in the playoff game at Fenway Park. He went into the clubhouse, crutches and all, and congratulated the men with whom he had played. There have been others who have come along since with whom he did not play. And then he stuck up his leg that had the cast on it and said, boys, go ahead and autograph this for me. And the parallel goes back to a guy named Red Smith from the 1914 team of the Boston Braves. That was that great team, you know, who came from last place around 4th of July to win the pennant. Red Smith broke his leg in similar fashion to Jeff Heath, and against the same team, against the Brooklyn Dodgers toward the end of the year, and was unable to play in the series. And both of those men are out here today to watch the action. Jeff Heath, his heart, of course, pounding, his heart broken to a degree because he can't play, and Red Smith there to comfort him, to tell him about his own experience. And then we saw Hank Gowdy a little while ago. Hank Gowdy is now with the New York Giants in the capacity of coach. He was with that great Braves team of 1914. And it's been wonderful just to watch all these men who have been invited by Mr. Lou Perini, owner of the Boston Braves, in a wonderful gesture. All the living members of the 1914 Braves team, the last to win the National League pennant, at his invitation have come to watch the World Series. But here are the lineups, ladies and gentlemen, for the Cleveland Indians, as we get ready for the more important business at hand, the start of the World Series. For the Cleveland Indians, it'll be Dale Mitchell leading off, playing left field. He hit .336 on the season. Larry Doby will hit second, play center field, with a batting average of .301. Batting third, playing shortstop, will be the manager, Lou Boudreau, hitting at .355. In the cleanup spot will be Joe Gordon, no stranger to World Series play, but the first time that he has appeared in the Fall Classic since becoming a member of the Cleveland Indians. Batting at .279, playing second base. Hitting fifth is Kenny Keltner, hitting at .298, third base. Following him in the batting order, playing right field is Walter Judnick, who hit .257 on the season. Then comes Ed Robinson, first base, hit .252 on the year. Batting eighth and catching, Jim Hegan, who lives in Lynn, Massachusetts, nearby here, with a batting average of .248. And in the ninth spot in the batting order and pitching is Bobby Feller. For the host, Boston Braves, leading off, playing right field, Tommy Holmes, hitting at 325. Hitting second, playing shortstop, one of the sensations of the year, Alvin Dark, hitting at 322. Batting third, playing first base, Torgerson, hitting at 251. In the cleanup spot and playing third base, last year voted the most valuable player in the National League, Elliott, hitting at 283, Bob Elliott. Marv Rickert will follow Elliott in the batting order. He received special permission to participate in the series after the injury to Jeff Heath, which reduced the outfielding strength of the Braves, and was recalled in a hurry by manager Billy Southworth from Milwaukee. Marv Rickert, who at one time played in the major leagues with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Marv Rickert hitting at 211. And then will come Bill Salkeld, hitting at 244, doing catching. Mike McCormick will play center field, hitting at 299. He once played in the World Series with the Cincinnati Reds. And a guy that played in the World Series last year, but with a different club, and he's going to start today. And it's going to be interesting to see that little pepper pot in action again. Eddie Stanky, second base, hitting at 315. And in the ninth spot in the batting order and pitching is Johnny Sane from Pine Bluff, Arkansas. And now, ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem. Johnny Sane, that completes the lineup. There go the Boston Braves running out of the field, ladies and gentlemen. The umpires back to the plate will be Barr of the National League, Summers of the American League at first base, Stewart of the National League at second base, Grieve of the American League at third base. The alternates, Paparella of the American League, will be stationed down the left field line, left field foul line, and Pinelli of the National League will be stationed down the right field foul line. And now it's with a great deal of pleasure that I introduce to you your play-by-play announcer for the first 4.5 innings of today's game, a man who knows these Boston Braves real well. He broadcasts their home games as well as those of the Boston Red Sox. It's a pleasure to introduce you now, ladies and gentlemen, to Jim Britt.
Thank you, Mel. Good afternoon, everyone. John Sane is out on the mound limbering up before throwing the initial pitch to left fielder Dale Mitchell, and Mel Harder and Bill McKechnie are taking their posts in the coaches' boxes at first base and third. But before the first game of this historic 1948 World Series gets underway, we pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System. Back at Braves Field, umpire George Barr is dusting off home plate, and he also is erasing the parallel lines of the batter's box so that they will in no way interfere with the whiteness of the outside corners, on which many a pitch may hang. Dale Mitchell batted .336 for Cleveland during the regular season. He comes from Normal, Oklahoma. He's the left fielder. There's a strong wind blowing in from the River Charles, an east wind we call it in Boston, and it will take a mighty wallop by a left-hander to hit home run territory. Johnny Sane winds up. He takes his stride. The first pitch, ball outside. Third baseman Bob Elliott broke for the plate, thinking Mitchell might try to drop down a bunt. The outfield's disposition is slightly to the left. The right side of the infield is in a bit. Sane winds up again. Here's the second pitch. And there's a drive to center field with Mike McCormick drifting to his own left, waiting for it. One out. Mitchell lined out to Mike McCormick in left center field. In left field for the Braves, Marv Rickert, playing his first World Series for the Bostonians. As a matter of fact, very few of the Braves have had World Series experience. And Eddie Stanky is the only one in the batting order who has seen it in an active role. The great Cleveland center fielder, Larry Doby of Norwalk, Ohio, has a batting average of .301, and he's a left-hander. He stands just a little open in the left-handed batter's box. He has great power. The outfield is straight away. Here's the pitch. High curveball. Ball one, no strikes. Every seat, of course, is filled. The park has been sold out long since. Sane gets his sign from Salkeld. He delivers. Ball 2-0. The two foul line umpires are standing just about 30 feet from the right and left field fences. That was a move instituted by Commissioner Chandler. Time is being called, and one of the ushers is being told by Bill Summers to get off the playing field and get back in the confined area of the field boxes along the right field side. 2 balls, no strikes. Elliott in fairly close. Here's the pitch. And a curveball is high. 3-0. And the Braves partisans grow somewhat apprehensive. Down in the on-deck area is the great Cleveland manager, Lou Boudreau. Doby sets himself for the pitch. It comes in for a strike called. 3-1. Sane slowed up just a little, threw a moderate speed pitch that was letter high, and Doby plants himself again. Now he takes a wide open stance, feet wide apart, sets himself for the 3-1 pitch with 1 out. Sane pitches, and there's a high pop foul. Elliott is chasing it, but the wind blows it into the third base stands for a 3-2 count. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Before the game, the great comedian, acrobat, contortionist of the Cleveland Indians, Jackie Price, gave a very interesting demonstration. Suspended by his legs from the bleacher wall, he caught fly balls and returned them. 3-2 the count confronting Sane and Doby. Here it is. There's a high fly ball to right center field. Mike McCormick has scarcely to move for it. He waits, and he takes it. Doby was 2/3 of the way to second base when the ball dropped into McCormick's glove. So the first 2 Cleveland batters, left fielder Dale Mitchell, center fielder Larry Doby, have flied out to center fielder Mike McCormick. And the great Cleveland manager is up, Lou Boudreau. Runner-up to Ted Williams in the American League Batting Championship, he single-handedly sparked his Indians to 2 rallies last Sunday. He teamed with Bearden, Keltner, and company to beat the Red Sox in the playoff. His batting average was .355. He's a right-hander. He's in his crouch. Here's the pitch. Strike called. Curveball, letter high. Lou comes from Harvey, Illinois, and he was one of the greatest athletes the Illini ever produced. Sane delivers. Outside, 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. The experts were just about even in their choice of whether or not Sane or Feller would be the winning pitcher in this battle of aces. Johnny winds up, strides, and there's a fly ball down the left field line. It's being chased by Rickert, and he takes it in foul territory, just crossing the line. A foul ball hit to Rickert, so Cleveland goes down in 1-2-3 first inning order. The score is 0-0. Fans, for a doubleheader in shaving value, get Hefty Gillette Blue Blades. They're double-edged for double economy. You get 2 shaving edges, not just 1. What's more, they're the sharpest edges ever honed, the easiest shaving and longest lasting on Earth. Bear in mind, Gillette Blue Blades fit your Gillette razor exactly. The edges line up absolutely parallel and extend just the correct distance for smooth, easy shaving. Yes, for the slickest shaves in the book, good-looking, refreshing shaves that really rate, buy Gillette Blue Blades. 5 for a quarter, 10 for 49. Or for extra convenience at no extra cost, get them in the handy 20-blade Gillette dispenser for 98 cents. Remember, look sharp, feel sharp, be sharp. Use Gillette Blue Blades with the sharpest edges ever honed. So it was no runs, no hits, no errors, no one left for Cleveland in the first half of the first inning as Johnny Sane induced Mitchell, Doby, and manager Lou Boudreau to fly out. 2 of them to center field, the other just outside the foul line and left to Marv Rickert. Rickert, you know, was declared eligible because of the injury to Jeff Heath. Tommy Holmes, Thomas Kelly Holmes, Brooklyn-born Boston Brave, will be the first batter. He finished the regular playing season with a batting average of .325 and has long been regarded as one of the most difficult men to strike out in baseball. He's a left-handed batter. He hits to all fields. Third baseman Ken Keltner is playing in fairly close. Mitchell is in left field, Doby in center, and Judnick in right. The infield for the Indians, Robinson, Gordon, Boudreau, Keltner. Bob Feller gets set to pitch to Jim Hegan. Here's the pitch. Low and inside. He threw a fast curveball that broke down near the ankles, and the count is 1 ball. Billy Southworth is the coach at third base, and Johnny Cooney, an old-time pitcher with a famous hesitation delivery. A pitcher outfielder is coaching at first. 1 ball, no strikes, no score as the Braves leadoff batter, Holmes, waits for the pitch. Ball 2, fastball outside, 2-0. Mr. Chandler's box is immediately to the right of the screen, and Mrs. Boudreau is seated back of the Braves dugout. Mrs. Southworth is seated back of the Braves dugout, naturally enough. And the Braves' 1914 stars are here, and so are some of the great old Clevelanders. 2 balls, no strikes. Here's the pitch. Fastball, caught the inside corner. Called strike. 2-1. The umpires are positioned at first, second, and third, back of the plate, and on the 2 foul lines, in the interest of accuracy. And the wind continues to blow in strongly from right center field. Holmes waggles his bat. Feller takes a big windup. He fires one, and there's a drive to center field. Doby goes over to his own right, and he takes it. The ball was crisply hit, but it was an easy chance. Holmes flies to center, just as Mitchell did to lead off for the Indians. 1 man out, and the great young rookie shortstop of the Braves comes up. He is Alvin Dark, the former Louisiana State University star from Lake Charles, Louisiana, with a batting average of .322. He was largely responsible for the success of the Braves in the National League, and he drew high praise from rival managers and players alike. He stands almost straight away, feet wide apart. They play him fairly short in the outfield. Swing and a miss. Feller fired a fastball. This is his first look at Bob Feller, by the way, outside of the game he watched at Fenway Park to decide the American League Championship on Monday. 1 strike to count. Feller takes that big windup. He strides, pitches, and there's a bunted foul down the third baseline, fielded by Billy Southworth. He decided to catch Ken Keltner napping, but the ball was foul by about 10 feet. The count is 2 strikes. Someone called the attention of George Barr to the fact that Dark's right foot was not in the batter's box, but the umpire looked it over very carefully and indicated that it was. One of the Cleveland coaches. 2 strikes to count. No score in the last half of the first inning of the 1948 World Series. Feller gets set. He pitches, and there's a foul ball into the right field pavilion. 2 strikes to count. Dark swung late on a fastball that was outside. Two strikes to count. 1 man out. Feller is studying the sign given him by Jim Hegan. The infield is straight away. Here's the pitch. And there's a curveball that missed the outside corner. Feller stepped to his right and fired a crossfire. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The first 4 batters in this game have failed to hit. For the Indians, Mitchell, Doby, and Boudreau went out, and Tommy Holmes lined to Doby to start the inning for the Braves. Now it is 1-2 on Dark. The pitch. There's a ground ball that goes to Eddie Robinson. Robinson decides to beat him in the race to the bag, and he does. Robinson had to slide into the bag at first base for the decision. Dark grounds out unassisted to Eddie Robinson on an extremely close play, with Robinson sliding into the bag to beat Dark, who really got up speed as he neared first. 2 men out, and Earl Ferguson of Snohomish, Washington. Earl Averill's birthplace had a batting average of .251 this year. He wears eyeglasses, as do some of the other players in the contest. 2 men out. Mel Harder of Cleveland does. Joe Tucker of Cleveland also. Torgerson wants the rosin bag, and Bob Elliott, who is in the on-deck area, throws it up to him, and then he steps back into the left-handed batter's box again. Dark's out was the first infield chance of the game, the first ground ball that was handled in fair territory. The first 4 men to face the pitchers went out on fly balls. 2 men out. Torgerson sets himself, and the first pitch is a curved strike called. 1 strike to count. Feller is one of the all-time greats of the game. He missed 19 victories this year. His record was 19-15. He takes a big windup, delivers, and there's a foul ball grounded to the right of the plate, and first base coach Johnny Cooney is fielding it. The count is 2 strikes. As Mel told you, the consensus varied all the way from a 4-game victory for the Cleveland Indians to a 6-game victory for the Boston Braves, a 7-game contest even up. But in a short World Series, it's almost impossible to speculate accurately. In 1914, the Braves were underdogs, but they won 4 in a row, the first team ever to do it. Feller gets set. He throws. Strike 3 called. He broke a curveball over the plate to strike out Torgerson. No runs, no hits, no errors, and none left. Neither team has put a runner on in the first inning of play. George Barr comes back of the plate to get some fresh baseballs. Bill Salkeld trots out to his catching position. Billy Southworth is a believer in the 2-platoon system. Consistently all season long, he has thrown left-handers in against right-handers. An announcement is just being made calling the attention to the fact that 31 of the players in this World Series Classic, 31 of the Indians and the Braves, started under the American Legion Junior Baseball program. And here as guests of the Boston Braves and the Cleveland Indians today are the 1948 American Legion Junior National Champions, the Trenton, New Jersey team. They were all out on the field getting their fill of autographs, and who knows, many of them may someday be playing on this and on other major league fields, because all told, about 200 major leaguers got their start in the program. Joe Gordon, the ex-Yankee and the great Cleveland second baseman, will come up. He's a Portland Oregonian with a batting average of .279. Regarded by many as one of the great second basemen of all time. He stands deep in the box. Johnny Sain throws the first pitch, and it's a strike called. That caught the outside corner, belt high. Here's the windup. The pitch. Foul ball that's drifting into the first base stands, out of play, and the count is strike two. Bill McKechnie is the coach at third base. Mel Harder is doing the coaching at first base, and Harder, by the way, was the batting practice pitcher for the Indians prior to game. The outfield is deep to the left with Gordon up. No score in the game. And so far, both pitchers have pitched 1-2-3 baseball. Sain is all set. He delivers. Strike called. Strike three, a curveball that caught the outside corner. Gordon took it, so both Feller and Sain have a strikeout. Ken Keltner comes up. Keltner put the Skids under the Red Sox last Monday with a 3-run home run that broke an existing 1-run tie and gave the Indians a 4-1 lead, which they never relinquished. He's from Milwaukee and has an average of .299. He's a hard-hitting right-hander. He lets a ball go by inside. One ball, a fastball. The outfield is still to the left with Keltner up. Here's the windup by Sain. He pitches, overhand and high. He threw a fastball. The count is 2-0. One man out in the second inning. Third baseman Bob Elliott plays him, as he should, about 10 feet inside the line. Keltner sets himself for the pitch, and he takes a strike. A curveball. 2 balls, 1 strike to count. Sain won 24 ball games. He's the top winner in all of Major League Baseball this year. Johnny delivers. There's a foul ball that goes right back into the press box. The first souvenir to go to the boys in Typewriter Row during the ball game. 0-0 the score. So far, neither team has forced a break. The pitching is holding up, but the game is in its very early stages. The second inning, with 1 out and none on. Here's the pitch. There's a drive that goes over Elliott's head for the first hit of the ball game. Rickard throws it into second base and holds Keltner to a single. Only because the outfield was stationed to the left was that blow kept from going for extra bases. So there is the first hit of the 1948 World Series by third baseman Ken Keltner of Cleveland and Walt Judnick, a left-handed batting right fielder, comes up. Judnick is from San Francisco. He also has played first base for the Indians this year. The outfield moves to the right a bit. The pitch, outside. 1 ball, no strikes. Bill McKechnie hollered, "There he goes," just as soon as the pitch came over. But there was no attempt made by Keltner to run. The Braves' infield has moved into the halfway position, hopeful of a double play. The stretch by Sain. The pitch. Ball 2, a curveball that was a little on the inside. So it's 2-0. First blood in the hit department by Keltner. He takes a lead off first base. Sain delivers. Strike call, curveball. That curved over after Judnick had stepped away from it. Eddie Stanky cups his mouth with his glove and shouts some instructions to Al Dark, the shortstop. Sain is taking a stretch, and he throws quickly to first base, but there's no tag. Keltner got back. And now Sain concentrates on the batter again. The pitch to Judnick. There's a drive down the right field line. Foul ball. That was ruled foul by the right field foul line umpire, Babe Finelli. It was a wicked line drive. The Indians were trying the hit and run, and that ball was very nearly in there for extra bases. The field boxes out in right field will keep some balls, perhaps, from going all the way into the right field corner where the rolled-up tarpaulin rests. And similarly, the field boxes out in left field will serve as a protection. 2-2. Judnick the batter. Keltner on. 1 out for the Indians in the second. The pitch from Sain, inside. And there's the first full count of the ball game. 3-2. A great many World Series firsts of 1948 are bound to be registered in the early innings of play. The weatherman was wrong, fortunately. He predicted rain. There's a 3-2 pitch. The runner goes. There's a drive to right field. Tommy Holmes makes the play, and he throws to first base to chase Keltner back. So there are 2 men out, with Keltner returning to first base as Judnick hammered a hard line drive that was taken by Tommy Holmes. With Judnick having flied out to right field, Eddie Robinson, the first baseman, is up. He batted .252 this year. He's a left-hander and comes from Paris, Texas. He's a tall, likable, husky batter who is not unmindful of Hal Trotsky, who once played first base for the Indians. Sane delivers. Strike called. He threw a fast one. He has a good, fast curveball and an excellent sidearm curveball, which he delivers on rare occasions. Usually good control. The stretch. There's a ground ball to Torgerson. He knocks it down, steps on first. And Robinson is retired unassisted. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 left for the Indians. The score at the end of an inning and a half, 0-0. Anybody who grows as tough whiskers as Leo DeRocher of the Giants does should know a thing or two about razor blades. So, folks, here's Leo DeRocher.
Fans, this is one man's opinion. But in my experience, Gillette Blue Blades are far and away the easiest shaving kind there is.
Care to recommend the Gillette dispenser, Leo?
Yes, sir. It's a marvelous convenience, fellows. A handy plastic case loaded with blades. When you want one, you push with your thumb, and there it is, unwrapped.
Men, the Gillette dispenser makes blade changing a breeze with any Gillette razor. You get it filled with 20 Gillette Blue Blades, 40 superb shaving edges, for the price of the blades alone. 98 cents here, $1 in Canada. Ask for the Gillette dispenser. Yes, look sharp, feel sharp, be sharp. Use Gillette Blue Blades with the sharpest edges ever honed. Bob Elliott will be the first batter for the Boston Braves in the second inning. In 2 innings, the Cleveland Indians have no runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 runner left. The only hit was that of Ken Keltner with 1 man out, a single to left in the second, but he was left stranded. Bob Elliott was last year's most valuable player in the National League. He batted .283 this season for the Braves. He's a right-hander from San Diego, California. He stands with a very closed stance from the outfield place in to pull the ball. Bob Feller gets ready. He pitches. Foul tip. Robert went right after that first one. In 5 of the last 6 years, Elliott has driven in 100 runs or more. He just did make it this season, driving in his 100th run in the final game against Leo DeRocher's Giants, by the way. 1 strike to count. Feller is, as always, a deliberate workman. Baseball is his profession, and he treats it like a business. He pays meticulous attention to detail. He goes into that big windup. He strides, pitches. A curveball low outside, and the count is 1-1. Rapid Robert, the Van Meter, Iowa farm boy, now from Waukegan, Illinois. Johnny Cooney and Billy Southworth are coaching at first and third. The outfield swung to the left. Keltner fairly deep at third base with Elliott up. Gordon over to the right of second. The pitch. There's a drive that goes toward right field. Coming in fast is Judnick, and he takes it. It looked for the moment as though he misjudged it, and it also sounded like a broken bat. Elliott flied out to right field. Marv Rickert, R-I-C-K-E-R-T, who was recalled from Milwaukee after the injury to Jeff Heath down at Brooklyn, was declared eligible as a result of a special ruling by the Commissioner of Baseball with the full approval of the generous Cleveland Indians. He lives in the Tacoma, Washington area and has batted .211 during his short time with the tribe. He's a left-hander, bats from a crouch, and he hits a high fly ball toward right center field. Judnick is under it, but Doby calls for it, and Doby takes it. It was easier for him because of the position of the wind. 2 men out as Elliott and Rickert have flied to right and to center, and left-handed hitting catcher Bill Salkeld comes up. Like Lou Boudreau, he's wearing a turtleneck sweater. Several of the players are because of the chill air here at Braves Field today. There's no score in the game. Ken Keltner so far has accounted for the Cleveland hit. Salkeld is from Los Angeles. He batted .244 during the regular season of play. He stands with an open stance deep in the box, left-handed. The pitch. Strike called. Feller threw a fast one to open up. Mike McCormick is the on-deck batter. The outfield is just a shade to the right, and the infield isn't deep on the left side, but Gordon and Robinson are back near the edge of the outfield grass between first and second. The wind-up by Feller. The pitch. Foul tip. He got that with the very end of the bat. 2 strikes the count. All the boxes are covered with red, white, and blue bunting, and a few Cleveland Indian and Boston Braves pennants are in abundance. As Mel Allen told you, the country has literally been given back to the Indians, baseball-wise, because both the Indians and the Braves wear tribal insignia. 2 strikes. Feller pitches. Strike 3, swinging. A fastball, and that is the second strikeout for Bob Feller. No runs, no hits, no errors, none left. This has been an even ball game so far, except that Ken Keltner has dented the hit column for the Cleveland Indians. In the first half of the 3rd inning of a scoreless World Series opener, Jim Hegan of Lynn, Bob Feller of Waukegan, and Dale Mitchell of Normal, Oklahoma will be the batters. In 2 innings, the Indians have sent 7 men up to the plate, and the Boston Braves have sent 6. Practically every name well known to baseball is here today. And probably the most interesting concession to sentiment, a tribute to the 1914 Boston Braves, of whom Hank Gowdy, the popular coach of the New York Giants, is one. George Stallings, Jr. is here, representing his late father, and such grand old-timers as Rabbit Moranville, Red Smith, and the rest of them. Jim Hegan is extremely popular in New England because he lives in metropolitan Boston. He has a batting average of .248, and he is one of the most durable receivers in the business. He did the catching for Cleveland with very, very little relief. He worked 144 games for the Indians this year. He's a right-hander. Sane pitches to him, and it is ball 1. Curveball, it just missed the inside. Sane shook his head. Eddie Stanky is positioned out on the grass, about 15 feet to the right of second base for Hegan, figuring that he's likely to pull one back through the middle. Sane pitches. Foul tip right into Bill Sawkell's glove. That was a fastball, and the count is 1-1. The outfield is deep to the left, with left fielder Marv Rickert playing right down under the big scoreboard. Here's the pitch. There's a ground ball that goes to Elliott. He fumbles the ball. Can't find it. Hegan is safe at first. No throw was made. It is an error for third baseman Bob Elliott. Ed Burns, one of the official scorers, just gave us the decision. Bob not only fumbled the ball, it bounded up over his head as it hit his glove, but he couldn't find the ball. He looked around in rather bewildered fashion. Bob Feller is up. He had a season's batting average of .095. His earned run average is .333. He's a big right-hander. They were looking for the bunt, and it's a foul ball. He tried to bunt it, fouled it back. Torgeson was just 15 feet in front of the plate when the ball was fouled. So the first error of the ball game is charged to Bob Elliott. It was a routine grounder, but it was a hard one. It took a high hop about letter high and bounded out of Elliott's glove. Sains takes his stretch. There's no one out. Here's the pitch. And it's a high one as they're trying to keep Feller from bunting the ball. 1-1. Both Sain and Feller have excellent fastballs, and when they throw a good fast one close to the batter, it's difficult to bunt the ball. Here's the pitch. And there's a foul ball. As he tried to bunt it, it just turned the bat in his hands and went to the right of the plate. 1 ball, 2 strikes the count. Bob Feller looks down the third base line to get his sign from Coach Bill McKechnie, who doubtless has already given it to him. Eddie Stanky came in to have a brief conference with Johnny Sain. The infield is in a bit on the grass. Third baseman Bob Elliott in close. The count 1 ball, 2 strikes. Here's the pitch. Strike 3, swinging. Curveball. After he got Feller into a 1-2 hole, Sain curved him, and the 2 pitchers have 2 strikeouts each. 1 man out. Left fielder Dale Mitchell up. His season's average was .336, and his first time up, he lined out to center fielder Mike McCormick of the Braves. Dale is a left-hander, and he was one of the most potent factors in Cleveland's pennant drive. Sain pitches to him. Outside, ball 1. George Barr is working back of the plate, and Bill Stewart at second because Barr is the senior of the two. And the other base umpires are Bill Summers and Bill Grieve. The pitch. There's a high infield pop-up. Elliott calling for it in foul territory to the left of third base. And he takes it. A foul ball taken by Elliott just outside the third base coaching box for the second out. With perfect support, the side would have now been retired. But because of the error that opened the inning, permitting Hegan to reach first base, Larry Doby now must be retired by Johnny Sain. Doby flied out to center field his first time up. He hit a monumental home run this season at Washington and Griffith Stadium, about which they're still talking in the nation's capital. He has tremendous straightaway power. He's a left-handed batter. The first pitch, curveball high, ball one. 2 men out, no score in the game. 4 goose eggs already adorn the scoreboard. Keltner has the game's only hit. The stretch, there goes the runner. The pitch is outside, and the throw is not in time, and Hegan steals. He got a good lead on Johnny Sain. He stole that base on the pitcher, not the catcher. By the time Salkeld had drilled his throw to Al Dark, there was no time for the tag. Hegan had already slid in with the first stolen base of the 1948 World Series. 2 balls, no strikes to count on Doby. Hegan takes the lead off second. There's a ground ball that goes to Al Dark. He's in fast. The throw to first. That's all for the Indians in the 3rd inning. Doby grounded out 6-3. Short to first. No runs, no hits, 1 error, 1 left. So, at the end of 2.5 innings of play, the score is 0-0. It was Leo Durocher, pilot of the New York Giants, who last inning called the Gillette dispenser a marvelous convenience. Yes, and believe me, you'll put in with him when you try this handy device that makes blade changing quick and easy with any Gillette razor. Men, it puts 20 Gillette blue blades, 40 shaving edges, right at your fingertips. You deal them out one at a time, unwrapped. Just push with your thumb and zip. There's a blade. What's more, the shaving edges are perfectly protected at all times. They don't even touch the dispenser when blades are being ejected. Enjoy extra shaving ease and convenience. Buy Gillette blue blades in the modern Gillette dispenser. You pay only 98 cents, the regular price of 20 blades. Look sharp, feel sharp, be sharp. Use Gillette blue blades with the sharpest edges ever honed.
First batter for the Braves, Mike McCormick, number 31, center fielder.
Mike McCormick will be the leadoff batter for the Boston Braves going into the last half of the 3rd inning. Mike was born in Angels Camp, California, scene of the famous Jumping Frog Derby, and he lives in Ventura. His season's batting average missed the 300 mark by just 1 point. He batted .299. He's the center fielder, stands feet close together, and he crowds the plate a bit. Bob Feller gets his sign from Jim Hegan, and Rapid Robert takes his windup. He pitches, and there's a high fly ball going to shortstop, who draws back under it, and Lou took it.
The second batter of the inning, Eddie Stanky, a pop to Bob Elliott at third base, and we pick up the action with Johnny Sain batting.
A fast call strike. 1 strike to count. This game has started out the way the real baseball fans like to see World Series competition get underway, with 2 pitchers on even terms. The breaks later, perhaps, to decide it. Here it comes. Foul ball. That goes back into the crowd, and the count is 2 strikes. It was fouled off to the right of the plate. Cooney and Southworth are the coaches for the Braves at first and third, while for the Indians, they are consistently Mel Harder and Bill McKechnie. The outfield is set a little to the left. 2 strikes, 2 men out, no base runners for the Braves in the third. The windup. Here's the pitch, and there's a high foul ball to the right of first base. Robinson is chasing it, the wind is carrying it, and he makes a nice catch and then fends himself off against the retaining wall of the boxes. A 1-2-3 inning for Feller. No runs, no hits, no errors, none left, as Sain fouls to first. At the end of 3 innings, there is no score.